Hello, my name is Adeline, and I'm reading my reflection on the body ritual among Narcimena, I think that's how you say it, by Horace Minor. I'm going to start off with my takeaway. So my takeaway of the story is that it really came off interesting to me and really came by surprise. I didn't really understand it in the beginning. I kind of got lost in the story a little in the beginning. I just think I didn't really understand it. So I did look it up on the internet a little to get a better understanding, which actually really helped me. And that's why I just couldn't really understand it in the beginning, so I took a while to really understand this project as a whole. But looking up on the internet really helped me better understand the correlations between some of the, like, I guess, slang words you would say in the story, just how things were said in the story, but how they were seen in reality, like in the US way, I guess. To add on to that, Narcimena, I don't know how to say it, is American spelled backwards. I think that's something important to keep in mind and very interesting to add into that. Something you probably just wouldn't expect. When you very first hear the title, you're probably like, oh, like, it's probably some, like, foreign language word, but it's American spelled backwards, which is pretty interesting and kind of just, I didn't know that in the beginning, and I think after understanding what that word was, I think it helped me better understand, like, okay, like, this is relating to American and, like, the American history, I guess, of it. So it helped me better understand it. I think and then in my eyes, I think the author kind of wanted to portray the story as, like, it seemed backwards. I think that's my understanding just because of I think that helps me because, like, the way the title was spelled backwards, I think it's like the story's being told backwards, but not actually backwards, but like seeing in a different lens, I guess. And then some of the patterns I picked up from the story were like simple little things that, like the hairs in the mouth, I think that's what it was called. It was relating to, like, brushing our teeth. Like, I think in the cult way, it was like, oh, hairs in your mouth. Like, that's how I was saying, like, in their cult and tribe. I think that's what it's called, cult or tribe. I wasn't sure. But in our mind, it's seen as, like, brushing your teeth. Like, hairs in the mouth, brushing our teeth. And I mean, once you put two and two together, it kind of makes sense, and actually, it honestly really comes to my mind pretty easily. And then another one was, like, the pulling of the hair. I think that's what it was said in the story, but just from what I got from it, means, like, brushing your hair, like, pulling of the hair, brushing the hair, like, them two actually do make sense together. So I really understand that now. It kind of seemed like the story was fake in the beginning. I think reading through it, it kind of made more sense and kind of was like, oh, okay, like, maybe this isn't so fake, and it kind of seemed all made up in the beginning. Didn't seem true, just seemed kind of like a fascination or just a supernatural story that didn't really make sense. Like, I can't remember certain parts of it, but there was all glory to men. It was something like that, and I was kind of like, oh, like, this seems fake, this doesn't seem real, like, it's just a story. But then, like I said in the beginning, I had to look some stuff up on the internet to get a better understanding, and I think doing that made me better understand that, like, oh, this is not a false story, it's true, it's just in a different way, I guess. But I think the author was trying to portray, like, the relations between, like, human health and the human body, and just give a better understanding of that. I also think the author wanted us to understand the tribal culture of them seeing back then in the world today, and then seeing it before and being put into our eyes into the world today. Kind of the same thing I just said. Some of the other patterns I picked up was the relation between back then and our world today. Like I said, that was understanding hygiene and using the bathroom correctly. I think that, like, in our world and back then, like, things were not the same, and I think that's what the story was, like, saying. But then, like, I think it was, like, trying to relate to then and then now, and saying how, like, things were, like I said, like, brushing of the hair and pulling hair. I think that's just something interesting that came to my mind. Where was I? And then I also think this relates to, like, the U.S. history type thing, because it talks about, like, not U.S. history, just like United States, not United States, just the American culture is that like the pattern of like consumption of things. Like I feel like in our world today, I feel like with social media, like I think a huge part of it is that there's a bunch of people out there that will like tell you to take a bunch of things, to do a bunch of things, and then like I said, like help your hair grow or toothpaste to make your teeth white. Like I think that was just what was kind of portrayed through it, what I've got through it, I guess, what I understand through it. But I think the story as a whole was just very interesting, and it really came to shock when I kind of put the correlations together about it. And really did make sense in the end. To wrap things up, I feel like this is a highly developed thing, and I think I think it said in the last 20 years, it like recently became more developed. So I think it's definitely more developed and more understood now. But I feel like once the story or article came out, it wasn't like better understand, and I think now that we have more knowledge, it's better. It's so much more betterly understood. But I think, it will help us better understand the tribes and the rituals that took place and how they relate to us now, and for us to better understand and put two and two together and make correlations. But yes, that's all I have.